Today we're looking at a Mantua 442 Atlantic that I have recently rebuilt, detailed, and upgraded to DCC with TCS Wow sound. I got the locomotive new as a Christmas present in 1988. I had many fond memories of running Santa Fe 520 on the layouts I had growing up. Just like the prototype, 520 gave way to Alcos and Warbonnet diesels on my layout, but I still had a certain fondness for the unit, which seemed to make it worth upgrading. This project was complex and rewarding. It involved a complete rewiring, new lighting, new motor, new wheels in the leading truck, new trailing truck, and additional weight. And that's just the locomotive. The original tender was relatively small and half empty, or half full, I guess. But either way, it provided inadequate housing for a DCC decoder, and one could forget about fitting a decent speaker in there. I found a slightly larger tender by IHC on eBay. It was about the size I was looking for, but it still was not right for the Santa Fe oil burner prototype I was thinking of for my tender. And so I cut out the coal and used sheet styrene to rebuild it. I used brass rodding to add grab irons, railings, and other details. In the end, I had a tender that looked reasonably good and provided sufficient space for the decoder and a good acoustic chamber for the speaker. Maximizing stable electrical pickup for DCC was the next big challenge. The original locomotive used the standard one-sided pickup technique, where the locomotive picked up power from the left and the tender picked up from the right. This was inadequate since it does not meet the reliability necessary for smooth operation. And secondly, it's not conducive to effectively isolating the motor. To correct this, I had to convert the lead locomotive truck and both tender trucks to pick up power from both rails, and I had to isolate this pickup from the frame. I replaced the tender truck with a Walther's arch bar freight car type using metal wheel sets from Intermountain, connecting them with brass wipers and wires to the decoder power input. I rebuilt the locomotive lead truck too. I replaced the original wheel sets with all metal ones from Northwest Shortline. Now here it's important to make sure that the isolator on your metal trucks are on the same side for the front trucks, otherwise it'll cause shorts. I superglued an ultra-thin piece of styrene to the top of the truck frame to serve as insulation for the electrical pickups I was going to put on top, which I made from brass rods, which I attached to the styrene and then bent to brush the backside of the wheels and connected them to the decoder inputs with wire. Of course, I isolated the motor from anything metal and sent its wires to the decoder as well, which resulted in an octopus of wires under the tender. Of course, no sooner did I have the unit reassembled for testing in DC, but the thing derailed on a switch, sending it to the concrete canyon, and me to eBay to find replacement parts for the cabin walkway. These new materials, the new tender, plus added ladders on the pilot and number boards, gave the old 520 the feel of a new locomotive. I decided it was appropriate to change the numbering of the locomotive from its original 520 to 526, numbered after a unit that pulled the famous Scott Special between Newton and Emporia, Kansas. And of course, the rebuild was not complete without the install of the TCS Wow sound. So now, let's have a listen. As you can see, with some effort and the right sound card, just about any locomotive can be made into an object of beauty. Thanks for watching, and remember, half the joy of model railroading is doing it yourself.
She complicated, left me